Alright, Mum, welcome to our new technique, half square triangles, made multiple different ways. So, we're going to need a thingy, I don't know if I have ruined my sew line from keeping it in the sun. So I've done a test piece. I did this about 3 minutes ago. So you know what time I'm making this, 12:33. I'm going to leave it here. Here is just on my sewing machine. To see if it fades. And if it doesn't fade, at least I know that pen is dead. In the meantime, because we're going to need to draw on our fabric, I'm just going to use my birch, chalk pen. For anyone who doesn't have one of these, so it only moves in one direction and it'll leave a chalk mark. This chalk mark is like a right pain to get off. So I'm only going to do it on lines I know I don't have to worry about. So, go this. Alright, so block 12 is broken dishes. Now we make broken dishes in the community quilt block, but we make them very, very, very differently. The way we're going to make them here is, I would say, the more traditional way. So while the block might look similar at the end, we're going to get there in a very, very different way. So, what are we on? We're going to read. We're on 1/4 inch standard seams, which we like. This is also going to explain why we have such a big squares that we've cut out. So, just going to make sure we have one and we have one, and that's all we need. This is fabric B7, and I'm going to need to iron this out. So, I am going to pause for a second, iron, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Alright, they're ironed. We're back. So in the book, we're going to go back a page. We're going to look at half square triangles. Now this one wants us to follow the 4 at a time half square triangle method. So, So the 4 at a time. So we're going to place the squares of fabric on top of each other, right sides together. So this is step 1. So we'll go right sides together. Okay, we're happy with that. Okay. Line up the edges so they're exact and pin in place. Now, because we're going to sew right round this, they have one pin on each bit. I'm just going to do a few more, just to help us out a little bit. So we're going to be sewing a 1/4 inch around here, so I'm going to give my seams a little bit of room. Yes, I pinned that weirdly. I like it this way. As we're going, we'll give a running commentary on this. Okay, well, that looks very weird. We're keeping it that way. Okay, so we're going to sew around the edge, like literally around the edge, and we're going to do it at a 1/4 inch because that's what the block says, not a scant. It wants a 1/4 inch seam. So, even though it's questionable whether or not this will go away, I am, for the purposes of this, alright, now what is the best way to do? Actually, the best way to do this for me to show you is this way. Alright, I should make sure that you are, that book out of the way because it's kind of throwing this off for me. Can you see? I'll zoom in a little bit. All right, so when you do this, that's a 1/4 inch, that's a 1/4 inch. So you're not gonna sew all the way to the edge, right? You're gonna sew to a 1/4 inch, that's a bit inside a 1/4 inch, and then you're gonna stop. So we're going to end up with a seam inside a seam. we're going to cut that down later. So it's going to be important that your square is square and your sewing is square, otherwise it'll throw your triangles off. So if you need to stop and measure, or go slow, do what you need to do. Our mat has not arrived, so whatever we're doing will be done with great caution. All right, I'm going to go sew this now. I'm going to try and be ever so neat, even if I have to stop. Okay, I will be back. All right, so I went to line this up on my machine, and once I put the foot down, it was a little tricky to see exactly where my needle needed to go. So I'm just showing you how I plan to overcome that. I always need to remember which way this goes. So I'm just making little triangles, little squares, guides, just on the edge here, just to help out a little bit. I can't remember the last time I had to do a half square like this, so even I wouldn't claim to be, you know, great at it. I also think it comes with time and practice, and if a guide helps, because it's on the wrong side of the fabric, no one's going to see it anyway. Great. It helps if you know the direction that this wheel works in. All right, that's just going to help me line that up a little bit easier on the machine. I should make sure that's in. Yeah, there you go. Well, I probably did none of that on camera because I realized it down there. So I just lined up the ruler just like that, and then just like that. All right, I'll be back now. I'm going to put this back to a decent size. Oh, there's my belly. Okay, I'm going to make that a bit closer. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so you can see that I've sewn around it. We're good. We're happy. Okay. So around the outside of the seams, using the seam indicator in the block instructions, removing pins as you go, done. Cut the unit into quarters diagonally using a heat transferable pen to cut the exact line. Well, we're not using heat transferable pen, but we will get rid of the foam, the whatever that's called. The wool. Alright. Will I regret doing this all on the white side? Most probably. Is that going to stop me from doing it on the white side? No, because it's easy to see. The fabric don't move. It's my preferred side. Alright. That's the instructions. Can you see that? Yep. Okay. Down here for a minute. I've got too much crap, but that's what happens because I'm messy. Okay, cut them diagonally, open out and press as needed. Okay. Well, I don't like cutting with the baby ruler because okay. All right, I'm lining that up on my line. Okay, get that roll out of the way. Gonna lift it up carefully. I'm pretty sure I've cut through that. Probably should have checked, but I didn't. We'll deal with that in a second if there's a problem. We're good. All right. So with that, we have made four half square triangles. Our block does not stop there. I'm going to iron these open. I'm going to set these seams because I haven't done those yet. I'm going to iron it open. This has now been 15 minutes and it's still there, but it might be fading, so we might have hope. Let's see. All right, so we are going to move that one like this one like this one like this, and this one like this, and that's our block. So we're going to sew these two together, and then up. So it's very nice. Does it look like it's meant to? Those are out, those are in. Yep, looks like it's meant to. Okay, we'll sew those now. We will use the edge that is square and sew from that edge. I made questionable thread choices, and I just want to show you what happens when you do that. I knew they were questionable when I did them. My machine ran out of bobbin, and I couldn't be bothered unthreading it to put a new bobbin in, so I grabbed an embroidery bobbin. And I don't think you can use two different weighted cottons, or not even cottons, one's polyester, one's cotton, without pissing your machine off. So I'm going to fix that. But yeah, don't do what I did. It's not a good idea. My machine is now loaded up with the right bobbin, and I have made a spare, which I'll make 2 of going forward, so I don't keep doing this. Oh, for posterity, Ursula has made a reappearance, obviously, as I fix this problem. All right, the only tip I would say here is be careful. Like because majority of this is blue, I've ironed it to the blue so that this looks neat. I'm gonna sew this one now with the right cotton on the right thread. Again, I'm gonna start with what I know is a right angle, and then I'll be back. All right, so my seam, I think I'm due for a new needle. We shall see. I'll try and get through a few more because I'm lazy. I don't know where my needles are. But yes, all right, so we did, and now we do this one. Now we want these to line up, these middle ones to line up, pate, and we want these to be as neat as possible. So I'll pin them, and then this should be our last seam. So this is a pretty good intro to half square triangles, and I do anticipate this just getting harder and harder as we go, but not bad for our first one. I'll be back. Okay, some sewing has occurred. Can we see? Yep, zoom in a little bit. All right, so that's right, all right, so this is block 12 done, and our introduction to half square triangles. This is very exciting. I like this. It's been half an hour and this is still here. I don't know how long these pens are supposed to stay for, so let's keep watching. I'll let you know in the next video how long it lasted, maybe, or another video after that. Okay, block 13 is next, and it is called a shoe fly. We're using the same method, and then so we're going to do half square triangles, and then we're going to do strips with it. If I fish out that fabric, we are using the ugly fabric that Amanda doesn't like. That'll be fine though, I'm sure. I mean, it'll be a bit bleak, but yeah, would have been nice to have the real fabric, but that's fine. All right, I'll see you for block 13, Mum. Welcome to half square triangles.